Am I an idiot if I tell my daughter her grandma is ashamed of her? I'm here because I genuinely don't know where else to turn. When I was 21, I had a one-night stand that resulted in my wonderful daughter. Her father ghosted me the day after we hooked up, and I decided to raise her as a single mom the day I found out I was pregnant. Throughout my pregnancy, my best friend, we'll name him Sean, became my absolute rock. We grew closer as a result of it and was even there when I delivered my daughter. We came a couple 6 months into my pregnancy and he officially adopted my daughter 3 years after she was born. We've been together for 7 years, married for 1, and have recently found out we're expecting our first baby. However, this has caused some tension from his family. His family are black, and while most of them have been great, his mother did not support our relationship, especially his choice to adopt our daughter. She refuses to acknowledge my daughter and corrects her every time she calls her grandma. Since finding out we're pregnant, she has been going around telling everyone she is expecting her first grandchild and how we're going to be a real family. My husband just ignores her because this is just what she does. However, it all came to a head recently when she said she would happily babysit our new baby, but wouldn't want our daughter around. When I asked why, she started saying how embarrassing it is for her and her son to be seen with a white child that clearly isn't there and that she will never be part of their family. Since then she's been texting updates regarding her grandbaby. I refuse to speak to her, but my daughter keeps asking why she doesn't get to speak to her grandma. I feel so ashamed to tell her that her grandma doesn't like her because of her race. I just don't see why she can't be fully accepted and part of a family just because she's white. I want to tell her the truth and go to low contact with my mother-in-law, but my husband said I would be an idiot if I told my daughter what my mother-in-law has been saying. Would I be the idiot if I told my daughter her grandma is ashamed of her race? Edit, while this blew up, just thought I'd clarify a few things. My mother-in-law is of Caribbean descent, where nobody disrespects their elders. My husband has told me numerous times how she used to chase him round the house with a hairbrush if he raised his voice at her, so I suppose that's why he keeps saying to just ignore her. I know I probably would be an idiot, but I just don't know what to do. My daughter is such a people pleaser and she makes so much effort to try and get her grandma to like her. She keeps asking what she can do to make grandma like her more and it just breaks my heart. Also to that woman who had the nerve to comment about the number of baby daddies I have and how weird it looks having a white and mixed child. Screw you. Edit 2. So I showed your responses to my husband and we had a long talk about his family and our daughter. He agreed that the comments and her attitude have been out of order and he has quietly been talking to my father-in-law to get her to stop. However, every time his dad brings it up, she either ignores him or completely blows up. I put my foot down and said I refuse to subject our daughter to this any longer, especially as her behavior is getting worse and she's already favoring the baby who isn't even here yet. I told him that this is going to damage our daughter in the long term and if he doesn't do something about it, I will not let her see either of the children. He got a bit huffy at the idea of his father not seeing them, but agreed to speak to her tonight. He's completely on my side, but I think he's a bit scared of the woman. I will update you with what happens. Update. So my husband called his mom and dad on FaceTime, while I stayed out of view to make sure he said exactly what needed to be said. He explained that her behavior to our daughter is unacceptable and that it's not fair she is subjecting her to this sort of treatment. He explained that if it was her biological grandson receiving this sort of treatment from my mom, she would be absolutely livid and be the first to call her a racist. What she was doing was no different. His father apologized and agreed with what he said. He tried to coax mother-in-law to apologize, but she huffed and said I have nothing to apologize for. That child is not ours and never will be. My husband and father-in-law both argued that she was being heartless and my husband warned her if she continued to treat our daughter this way, she would not be allowed to see our baby. She flipped. She called me a lot of racist names I won't repeat on here. She also said she would see her grandbaby whether he liked it or not, that I was a bad influence, that I was manipulating him and turning her son against him. Eventually my father-in-law apologized and ended the call. We had a sit down with my daughter and explained that she couldn't see grandma because she was on timeout. My daughter asked if it was because she says mean things and we both said yes. She then asked when she comes out of timeout, can I see her again? And I said absolutely. Once she is out of timeout you can go and visit with your new brother or sister. She seemed satisfied with that as she then asked if she could go and play in the garden. My husband has since been texting our father-in-law, but she refuses to apologize. Until she does and takes steps to improve her behavior, she will not be allowed to visit. Thank you for all your advice on the matter. We both agreed with a lot of the comments that now was not the time to bring her race up to our daughter as she doesn't see herself any different from her dad or his parents. She seems to be okay with it so far, although we are taking it day by day. Not an idiot. But please, take steps to protect yourself now. Make sure you have a drop cam on your door. Document the abuse. Make sure the hospital knows she isn't allowed in. I hate to scare you, but people like this can be scary. I am currently waiting to hear back from a lawyer because my parents, who I am no contact with, tried to lure my kids with a puppy. It may be felony stalking and I finally may be able to get some protection from the law. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Not an idiot. Great parenting job. I wish I had not subjected my own kids to my in-laws, as they are disgusting racists. They showed their true colors once too often and were not invited to my daughter's wedding because they didn't approve of his race and religion. Absolutely no regrets cutting them out of our lives. Do you think she was too nice to her MIL? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for yelling at my ex's GF in front of our kids? I, female 38, have got 3 kids, 4, 6, 9, with my ex, 43 male, who cheated on me with his 24 yo, now GF. She moved in 2 weeks after my ex and I split 2 years ago. We immediately divorced, and I only have the kids a couple days every other week as I work 70H divided by W. I finance everything in regards to the kids, extracurricular, camps, clothing, etc. I can afford it easily, so I go shopping with them, get the emails about their sports, host their parties, etc. I am still very involved in my children's lives. My kids told me they don't like the new GF. They say GF is overbearing, controlling, tries to enforce affection, and mothers them. I told my ex to talk to her, but he dismissed it, so I told the kids they aren't obliged to listen to her beyond house rules. Last Thursday GF picked the kids up from my place. I say goodbye to my kids and go back inside. 5 or so minutes later I'm leaving for work, and I see GF's car standing still in my driveway. I walk over and knock on the window. Me, hey, is everything alright? Why aren't you leaving? My younger ones are in the back being quiet, but my 9-yo is staring daggers at GF, and there is obviously something going on between GF and 9-yo S from here on. GF, yes, everything is fine. I'm just making a point. S refuses to comply with my rule, so I'm not leaving till he does. Me, S, is that true? What are you refusing to do? S, she wants me to call her mum. I told her no because you are my mum. Me, taken aback. GF, I don't believe you get to decide what my children call you. They have told you multiple times they want to call you by your name, and you need to accept that. GF, well, I think it's important for them to have a mother's figure in their life and that they call their real family by their titles. Since you're so busy all the time, youngest ones have even been forgetting you. So I'm just trying to give them a healthy childhood by having them at least remember having a mom. So this is where am I the idiot? I lost it. I have rarely been so angry. I didn't yell, as I never do, but I did say some pretty nasty things. I told her that she should be grateful to even be a part of my children's life, that she will never replace me as their mother because she has yet to even get them to like her, that she has got absolutely zero parental authority over my children, and how dare she try to force my child to do something he's explicitly said he's uncomfortable with, to just accept her role as their father's new girlfriend and to take them to their dads. I got a phone call later from an ex raging at me for disrespecting his new GF, and my mom also says I could have handled it better. Am I the idiot here? Thank you so much for all your responses. I am blown away. I have decided to take the appropriate steps and have scheduled a meeting with my boss to discuss working fewer hours. I had never even thought about parental alienation, but I'll be damned before I let that happen. Edit 2. I've gotten a lot of comments and messages regarding custody, and why I don't have 50 over 50 or even full. It's because I work a lot. Less hours will still mean a min of 50, but I truly never thought about being alienated from my kids. Possex has always been a good dad, never thought this would happen. Update, it's been quite a while. I wasn't planning on it, but many of you have personally messaged me asking for an update. Thank you for all the kindness and concern for my family. Early March I was phoned at work by my neighbor saying my 10-year-old son was at her place. He had biked in the dark to my house. He told me that he'd left because GF had punished him for not joining a family bath in a way no one should support. Of course I went home immediately. I told my boss that I was leaving for the night, and I wasn't sure if I would return the next day. After checking if my son was okay, we went to X's house. After arriving, GF immediately started raging at S, but I shut that down very quickly. I went inside the house to collect my children, who were awake because their GF was yelling very loudly. They cried and asked to come with me, which was absolutely horrible. To come to the house of your co-parent and to hear your children beg to leave. It took something from me. I put the children in the car, locked it, and went back inside to grab their essentials. This time, X followed me in and tried to excuse my GF. I told him that he would not be welcome anywhere near the children until they wanted him to, and I trusted him again. I also told him I would be suing for full custody and that my lawyer will contact him about buying out my part of the house. Nothing he said after that is worth repeating. I came back outside to find GF attacking my car trying to get the children. Things got very nasty and many things were said. She refrained me from reaching my car and the police had to be called. The officers allowed me to leave with my kids after a brief chat. I did not return to work until early April. Because of COVID-19, my children went to my parents in the country. We video chat daily. My parents say the children are flourishing, though still very shocked and traumatized by what happened. They are talking with a therapist individually. My children have also been inspected by a physician for physical trauma, of which there is no sign. Thank the stars. I will be taking my ex to court soon and will likely get full custody with paying alimony. The house will be put up for sale. X has formally been told that GF's presence will result in me fighting for no visitation. Lastly, I did not end up losing my job. I have decided to get a professional live-in nanny and perhaps au pair, and I'm looking into larger properties to accommodate everyone. The kids are very excited to come home to me in September. Thank you all very much. Not an idiot. Wow. That was insane. What a horrible father is to keep his GF over the best interest of his children. A real man would have let the door hit her on the way out. I'm so happy that you're fighting for them and they are flourishing. Best of luck to you and the babies in the future. Not an idiot. I'm so glad your kids are safe and you are all okay. You have a solid plan in place and your kids are well taken care of. As a child of divorced parents, I can tell you how much it will mean to your kids that you not only stuck up for them, you drew a line and saved them from a crazy situation. Now, for the next story. Am I an idiot for refusing to sell my rental properties at my fiance's request? 2 years ago I, male 36, proposed to my fiance, 30 female, and our wedding is going to be this coming summer. When we met we both owned properties. She owned a pretty typical luxury townhouse, and I owned 2 properties in the inner city. We both agreed that when it was time to cohabitate, we'd live in her condo. I own an old 2-up 2-down duplex in a neighborhood that butts right up against an old industrial area, which I was living in until we moved together. And on the next block I also own a 4,000 square foot concrete block industrial building. I got them as part of a screaming package deal about 12 years ago when you couldn't give property away in that neighborhood. I now rent the duplex to a couple of Hispanic families, and God I hope they never leave me. Best renters ever, and I rent half of the factory building to a guy who does HVAC and the other half to some microbrewery hipsters. The powers of gentrification have been at work in this hood for about half the time I've owned these places, and I'm making boku bucks on these rentals. I could lose my job tomorrow and not even blink. My fiancée does not see it this way. Ever since we've moved in together, she's been pestering me to sell the places. It's been ramping up the closer we get to the wedding. I keep telling her that as long as I own these places, it's a practically guaranteed third source of income and would be invaluable if either of us hit a rough patch job-wise. She doesn't see it that way though. All she sees is a potential big pile of liquid cash that can go towards wedding, honeymoon, and upgrades to the living situation after. We had the biggest blow-up yet about it last Saturday and I kind of lost it. I'm a saver and she's a spender, and I said that to her in far less pleasant terms, and also mentioned the amount of credit card debt she has, and since then things have been pretty frosty. Am I an idiot for refusing to sell my second income? Update. So, the conversation didn't happen until the weekend of the 14th of March. Life got in the way. It started fine, but quickly went south and ended in a big fight that degenerated into a lot of petty shit-slinging by the end. She accused me of not trusting her, fair, and I pointed out that her habits make it basically impossible to trust her with money anyway. Probably not my proudest moment, but I did again make it clear in no uncertain terms that the properties are staying in the LLC and I won't sell them, and that the financial decisions regarding them would be mine alone. I may have also had a few choice words about the princess for a day wedding she wanted. After a couple of weeks of avoiding each other and not talking, and me sleeping in the basement of the townhouse, I said I wanted to hit the pause button and leave for a while. She was upset but didn't say much. I loaded up my things and went to my parents' house and told them what happened. They told me I could stay as long as I needed. Somewhere near the end of April, I got a call from her dad out of the blue. What the hell, demanding to know what was going on and why I had broken things off. I tried to explain what had been going on, but he was the angry dad of an upset young woman and I don't think much got through. That call ended with him calling me a scumbag and hanging up on me. I've only had a few properly long-term relationships end in my lifetime, but that's the first time I've had an angry father yell at me about one. There's been no contact since. I'm sad that just over 4 years of my life with someone went up in smoke like this, but that's the way she goes, I guess. My parents didn't seem very surprised when I showed up, so maybe I really was the last one to know what was going on, like so many Redditors were pointing out. For some good news, and also the thing that reminded me to update my Reddit post, is that yesterday I bought another house, one for me to live in. A tiny little brick post-war brick ranch in an old subdivision about 20 minutes from my rentals. It needs work, but I'm looking forward to having a project to take my mind off things. It's going to be strange living on my own again, but I think I'll manage. Not an idiot. Jesus, if my new partner and spouse-to-be had basically a third income, I would be high-fiving every fucker I met about how lucky we were. Damn dude, good job getting out of that one. It must be really hard seeing 4 years disappear, but sometimes we don't see the real person until it is too late. The dad was angry with you because you were the solution to his problems, meaning you would financially support her and take her off his hands. And now who knows how long it will take to find another Mr. Moneybags to bail her out.